When I was 7 years old, I was sent to the palace and made a concubine, but the emperor seemed to forget about a nobody like me. On Laba festival, I went with 6 princes to steal Laba porridge from the kitchen, and the emperor caught us. They all knelt and called him father. I followed suit. I regretted it immediately, but the emperor smiled. When did I have a daughter? That made me want to cry even more. The emperor had 6 sons, no daughters. When I got into the sedan chair, I was about to cry, but my father gave me so much. 800 taels. My father was ruthless, so greedy. No wonder he sent his daughter to the palace. I grabbed my father's sleeve, and earnestly told him, I'll become a favored concubine. When you get beheaded, I'll definitely save you. My father was about to cry too, but now he couldn't. He cursed and splashed a basin of water, then decisively shut the door. My father is still heartless. I need to learn from my father. The power of example. With 800 taels in my pocket, I moved into the butterfly pavilion. The nanny assigned to me was named Ma. There were also 7 or 8 palace maids. They all introduced themselves. I held fragrant pastries, sitting on the couch and eating happily. The nanny and maids across from me were stealing glances. I knew that even though I was 7, due to long-term malnutrition, I looked like I was 5 or 6. Concubine, sure. Eat slowly. Nanny, can I see the emperor today? You're still young. Wait until you're older. If I don't see the emperor, will I still have food and a place to sleep? Do I have to do laundry? No, you don't have to do any of that. Just grow up peacefully. I was so happy. I was overjoyed. So I settled into the butterfly pavilion, eating all day, sleeping all night, with nothing to do. After just 3 months, Nanny Ma happily pinched my cheeks, saying I'd filled out a lot. I looked down at the fat around my waist, and went back to gnawing on a big trotter. Before I knew it, I'd eaten too much. Holding my round belly, I rolled around in pain. So Nanny Ma ordered me to stop overeating. That afternoon, I was starving, so I sulked and sneaked off to the imperial garden alone. The imperial garden was quiet. There was a lake to the south. It was stocked with many koi. I squatted by the edge, watching them, and swallowed hard. Suddenly, I heard laughter. I saw a boy of 13 or 14, wearing crimson brocade robes. His narrow eyes were full of amusement. What are you looking at? Humph. After 3 months of being pampered, I'd developed a bit of a temper. Nanny said I'm the emperor's concubine. Besides the emperor and empress, I don't have to be afraid of anyone. Stop. The boy jumped in front of me. He bent down to look at me. Which family's young lady are you? Or a newly arrived palace maid? A palace maid? I'm a concubine. A consort of His Majesty. You wouldn't be the daughter Chancellor Sure sent into the palace, would you? Yes, I am Sure Shu. Jiu Sure. Ha 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 ha. You, Sure the rat, the one with the big fluffy tail. It really fits. Little rat Sure. You stand right here and wait. Don't you dare leave. Humph. Fine, I won't leave. As if I'm scared of you. The boy laughed even louder. Soon, the boy came back with 5 other boys. The 5 of them immediately surrounded me. They looked at me curiously, talking among themselves. Is she really a consort? She's so little. 5 years old. She's 7. I saw her at Chancellor Shure's residence, like a little mouse, huddled in a corner washing clothes. She is Sure the rat, with a big fluffy tail, jumping around in the trees. Doesn't she look like one? Her puffy cheeks and round face, and that messy long hair. It's perfect. They doubled over with laughter. Wait, what should we call her then? Imperial Mother, you call her that if you want. I'm not calling her that. As they talked, they poked my face, and pulled my braids. I was a little scared. Terrified, I turned and ran. The boys laughed uproariously behind me. I'm so mad. Just you all wait. I will get my revenge. Now I know who they are. Nanny Ma told me. The one in the crimson robe is the crown prince. He's 11 this year. The others are all his younger brothers. Nanny was kneading dough. I leaned on the table, watching her. If I'm angry, can I spank them? Nanny and the sisters burst out laughing. I'm not convinced. I'm a consort. Can't I even do that? Sister Xian wiped the flour off my face, and popped a candy into my mouth. Freshly made pear candy. Is it good? It's good. Forget it. I'm not angry anymore. For the sake of this sweet candy. Our Jiu is so magnanimous. A true statesman has a heart as vast as the ocean. Sister Xian pinched my nose. Statesman. My father's belly really could fit a boat. It's that big. The next day, I was pasting maple leaves in the courtyard. Suddenly, a handsome head popped over the courtyard wall. He shouted at me, Little rat Sure, what are you doing? I glared at him. My name is Sure Shu. The crown prince laughed heartily. Then, whoosh, another head popped up to his left. And whoosh whoosh, 2 more appeared on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 imperial princes were present. Rat Sure, are you pasting maple leaves? I'm the best at pasting things. What's so fun about pasting maple leaves? Let's go fishing. Fishing is boring. Let's play polo. No, I want to eat roast venison. What's roast venison? Ha ha ha, looks like you like roasted venison. Let's go. Off to get some venison. I cautiously lay down on the threshold, peeking at them through the crack in the door with one eye. They were peeking back at me through the crack. Little stone mouse. Come on out. I want to go. But I don't dare. I look back at Nanny. Nanny patted my head. she said with a smile. Go ahead. Happily, I opened the door. The second and third princes each took one of my hands. The fourth prince didn't get to hold my hand, so he and the fifth prince each grabbed one of my little braids. The crown prince held the sixth prince's hand, waving a red tassel. He walked ahead with a beaming smile. They were talking so much, I couldn't keep up, but the venison smelled so good. I ate too much meat. That night, I was clutching my stomach again, vomiting and having diarrhea, feeling dizzy and sluggish. I took a lot of medicine. When I opened my eyes, I saw the crown prince sitting by my bedside, looking at me with deep concern. Seeing me wake up, he patted my head. Feeling better, I nodded with a smile. I was fine all along. The venison was delicious. He breathed a sigh of relief, but then he laughed. You're such a greedy little thing. After classes ended in the afternoon, the 5 princes came together to see me. Each brought a gift. I served them some snacks. From then on, they'd come find me after school every day. The 6th prince even taught me how to read, but I always felt there was something off about his teaching. This character. That's not how you said to read it yesterday. Really? Then I was wrong yesterday. Just go with today's version. Why go with today's? Was yesterday's definitely wrong? My mother said, as long as I'm smarter today than I was yesterday, that's enough. I see. I sat on the side, munching on an apple. The 6th prince stopped writing too. He sat down next to me, each with an apple. He even copied me, swinging his legs. Nanny came in and laughed for a good while. One morning, I was shaken awake by Sister Xian. Aishu, Aishu, it's snowing outside. I scrambled to my feet. Sister Xian carried me to the window. I wrapped my arms around her neck, and said happily, Sister, let's go sweep the snow off the plum blossoms. Sister Xian was taken aback. Not to build a snowman. Sweeping the snow is more important. You and Nanny have been coughing. I asked the doctor. He said tea made with plum blossom snow can stop a cough. I hurried to get dressed. Sister Xian stood in the doorway, watching me with reddened eyes. I was all dressed, but she was still standing there. Hurry up, sister, hurry. I carried the urn I had prepared earlier, and went to sweep up a whole lot of snow. Nanny and Sister Xian both drank the tea. What are you waiting for, Aishu? For the princes. I want them to have some tea too. I asked Nanny, can I go find them? Nanny glanced at the time, and said I could. I picked up the teapot, and trudged through the deep snow, greeting everyone I passed. It was my first time at the schoolhouse. I peeked inside through a window, but the moment I got settled, everyone in the room turned and looked at me all at once. I was startled, and fell off the windowsill. The crown prince came out and helped me up. You came alone. What are you doing here? Tea. I held out the teapot to him. It's for all of you. The crown prince didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then he took the teapot away. I reminded him, that's for everyone. They're too young to drink much tea. As soon as he said that, a bunch of boys crowded over, all staring at me with curious eyes, bombarding the crown prince with questions about who I was. I wanted to say I was a Jeyu, but the crown prince told me I must never tell anyone I'm a Jeyu. So now I didn't know how to introduce myself. She's so cute. Doesn't she look like a little bunny? And a Persian cat. A younger boy made clawing gestures at me. Meow. Can I pinch your cheeks? As he spoke, several hands reached out. Enough. The crown prince yelled at them and had someone escort me back to the palace. Just then, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th princes came out from other rooms. They pushed the others aside, and fought over who got to drink the tea. Shurshu's never had lessons before, right? Come study with us. Ah. My head was spinning. Yes. I've never had lessons. Come on, let's go together. The teacher won't be angry. I was pulled into the schoolhouse. The teacher paused when he saw me, and asked the attendant beside him, which family's young lady is this? The attendant whispered the answer. The teacher's gaze towards me filled with pity. Have a seat, the teacher said, holding my hand warmer. I sat cross-legged next to the crown prince. The schoolhouse was nice and warm. I was so sleepy. I was just dozing off. When everyone around me burst out laughing, I jolted awake, scared. They laughed even harder. I turned and asked the crown prince with my eyes. The crown prince held back a laugh, and whispered, don't mind them, go back to sleep. Okay, I nodded. On Laba festival, the palace was bustling. We ran to the imperial kitchen to steal some labazu porridge. As we crouched by a wall eating it, a person in bright yellow robes passed by. What are you doing? He asked. His voice was deep, and full of authority. I was so scared I almost dropped my bowl. The 6 princes knelt down properly and called out, Father. I knelt down too, and called him. Father. I regretted it the moment I said it. I can't call him father. This is His Majesty. I hung my head, wishing I could hide in my bowl and turn into a red bean. His Majesty noticed me. When did I have a daughter? His Majesty has 6 sons, and no princesses. I misspoke. I kept my head down, not daring to look at him. I'm sorry, Father. The little girl is young, just parroting what she hears. The crown prince explained for me. I nodded vigorously. I'm stupid. Oh, I remember now. The emperor half squatted in front of me, tapped my nose, and said, you're Prime Minister Shir's youngest daughter, right? I looked at the emperor. He was very handsome. Much younger than my father. I nodded. He asked me. I glanced back at the crown prince, afraid I'd say the wrong thing. because he had warned me not to mention the title, Jeyu. I thought the emperor must have forgotten who I was. After all, other consorts get to see the emperor at night after entering the palace. But I've been here for so long, and this is the first time I'm seeing him, so I was sure he didn't remember me. I'll be 8 after the new year. The emperor was taken aback for a moment. Then he patted my head. He turned and said to the high-ranking official beside him, "Daughters are so much more adorable." The official glanced at the crown prince. The crown prince also abruptly looked up at him. In that instant, their eyes met. I didn't understand it, but I felt like their gazes said something. Then the official covered his face and laughed. Indeed, that's why they say a daughter is a father's warm little padded jacket. The emperor nodded. Suddenly, inspiration struck me. Just like when I used to butter up my father at home, I gave him a sweet smile. "Then I'll be your little padded jacket. I'm very well behaved." The emperor was stunned. Then he burst out laughing. Really, I felt he didn't believe me. I got so anxious I started sweating. I can also massage legs and shoulders. I've been massaging my nanny a lot lately. Her legs always hurt at night. I stood behind him, and gave his shoulders a dozen or so pats. Then I tilted my head and asked him, "How is it? Doesn't it feel good?" "Good. You really are a little padded jacket." The emperor kept laughing. The others were laughing too. I didn't really understand what they were laughing about, but laughter is always better than a stern face. Official Kai, go summon Minister Shi. I want to thank him for sending me this little padded jacket. After the emperor finished speaking, he gave the crown prince a few more instructions. Then he left with his entourage. After they had gone far away, the crown prince looked down at me. I tugged on his sleeve. "Did I say something wrong just now?" "Little stone mouse performed very well today. I'll reward you with a big feast later." Emicham. Performed very well. What the teacher said is true. Fools have fool's luck. The crown prince shot him a look. The corner of his mouth also lifted. The sixth prince took my hand, and I skipped along, following the crown prince to the big feast. That night when I returned, my nanny and sister Xian hugged me and cried. I vaguely felt something momentous had happened. The next day, I was granted the title of Junju, the title Yongping. Everyone was very happy. I was very happy too, because my nanny said a Junju is more powerful than a Jieyu. I also went to pay respects to Her Majesty the Empress and Her Highness the Noble Consort. They were both very kind. I received quite a few rewards. It snowed all through that winter. I heard many places were suffering from snow disasters, so I asked my father for 1,000 taels, added my own savings, and went with the sixth prince to see the emperor. What for? The emperor looked at the two of us. Donating money. For disaster relief. I put the money on the table. Donating money. And cotton padded jackets. The sixth prince dragged in a large bundle of his own clothes. His Majesty flipped through the banknotes on the desk, and gave each of us a piece of candy. I accept this money. On behalf of the people, thank you. His Majesty patted my head. Then, smiling, flicked the sixth prince on the forehead. Slow-witted, but honest. That's his redeeming quality. Spend more time with Shu from now on. The sixth prince and I covered our mouths, and nodded together. Father, I like little stone mouse. I'll definitely play with her. His Majesty was very pleased. He told us to be careful on the way back. When His Majesty went to pray for blessings, he took me along. I knelt piously and made a wish. I hoped the heavy snow would stop immediately, and the sun would shine brightly every day. Something miraculous happened. The day after His Majesty's prayers, the snow stopped. The people praised His Majesty's benevolence. His Majesty summoned me for dinner. Smiling, he said he had benefited from my good fortune, and rewarded me with many interesting things. He also asked if I wanted to go home for a visit. I don't want to go back. After my concubine mother passed away, father, mother, and my sisters, none of them liked me. I had to do many chores every day. I even had to brew tea for my sisters, and help them wash clothes. I went to complain to father. He just said he was very busy, and told me not to bother him. After that, I stopped going, but the nanny said I'm a blessed person. Otherwise, I wouldn't have entered the palace. Your father and family treated you poorly? His Majesty frowned and said, No. I waved my hands. Father has many matters to attend to. He has no time for me. My sisters are also young. Sometimes they scold or punish me a bit. We all forget about it. Actually, I used to be angry, always thinking about getting revenge when I grew up. But now, none of that matters anymore. Then stay here peacefully. Find a female tutor and study properly. His Majesty said, You're already 8 years old. No more running around aimlessly. It's not ladylike. Oh, I understand, but I still played with everyone. I often went to the schoolhouse too. I even sewed a knee pad for Master Song at the school. He often kneels on the cushion. His knees must hurt. Master Song said he liked it very much, and gave me a copybook. Told me to finish it within a month and come see him. Holding the copybook, I almost cried. I like you, Master. Why are you punishing me then? Master Song held back a laugh, and tapped the desk with his ruler. Listening to your teacher is how you show you like him. I went home with my head hung low. When the Crown Prince came to see me, he looked at the copybook with a strange expression. This copybook is the only copy in existence. Take good care of it. It's that precious. I carefully put it away, afraid I might damage it, and ruin Master's kind gesture. The sixth prince also got busy. He studied until very late every day. When he came to see me, He'd just sleep on the Kong. Wake up and eat. Does your mother not feed you? The sixth prince bit into a pig's trotter and cried on my shoulder. Wah, I don't want to study. I just want to play with you every day. Then I'll come play with you. The sixth prince's eyes lit up. So every day after his classes ended, I'd squat by his window and chat with him. No one knew. It was our secret. Spring turned to autumn. The emperor was going on an autumn hunt. This time, I was going along too. The crown prince instructed the nannies. Pack more changes of clothes and insect repellent. The sixth prince and I weren't listening to them. We each had a small bundle, frantically stuffing it with snacks. The sixth prince slipped me a piece of candy. He leaned close to my ear and whispered to me, "Isn't it delicious? I'll hide the candy in your boot. That way they won't find it." That loud. Who wouldn't hear that? You can't have candy. Spit it out now. Oh, you. What am I going to do with you? Just let her have one. She's about to cry. Don't cry. There are lots of wild berries over there. They're even better than candy. Yeah, and later I'll hunt a rabbit for you to play with. I cheered up again. When it was time to set off, the sixth prince climbed into my carriage. He sneakily lifted his shirt. He actually had a cloth bag tied around his waist. Like a magician, he pulled out a handful of candy from the bag. Pretty clever, huh? He chuckled quietly. Then he shushed. Keep it down. You're so smart. I nodded vigorously. We covered our heads with a blanket together, and hid underneath to eat. The crown prince stayed with his majesty the whole time, so we hardly ever saw him. We followed the second prince instead. He taught the sixth prince and me how to ride. He even got me a little pony. It wasn't very fast, but I could ride it. We had horse races. I won every time. I knew they let me win, just to make me happy. To thank them, I specially made some pastries with the nanny. They all really liked the pastries I made. Early the next morning, we agreed to go to the hunting grounds, except for the crown prince, who was off on business. Our whole group went into the woods. I saw a fawn. I even found a nest of rabbits. I stood under a tree and saw a rock squirrel for the first time. It was jumping and bouncing around the tree. Sure enough, it had a big, fluffy tail trailing behind. I excitedly called the sixth prince over to see. There really is a rock squirrel. I turned around and suddenly noticed everyone running in another direction. Where are you going? I hurried over to the stone mouse. The second prince pushed aside the bushes and ran towards me. We ran into a bear up ahead. I'll take you back. But the second prince's horse suddenly neighed and bolted into the woods in a panic. Instead of chasing the horse, the second prince dragged me back the way we came. I was running out of breath, but I didn't dare stop. Where are they? I asked, but the second prince suddenly stopped, grabbed me, and started running the other way. I ran alongside him, glancing back over my shoulder. Not far away, there was a dark shape, a pig-like creature, staring at us menacingly. I was injured. When I woke up, there were many people gathered around my bed. The second prince's eyes were red as he looked at me with guilt. Later, I remembered that when the big wild boar charged, I shielded the second prince, and then I passed out. Later, the guards arrived. The wild boar was also shot dead. I shifted slightly, and a searing pain shot through my back. The doctor said I had a broken bone in my back, and could only sleep on my stomach. When I woke up again, the person by my side had been replaced by the second prince. Aishu, besides wanting to be a cook, have you ever thought about getting married? He asked me. I haven't thought about marriage. Then who do you like the most? Aishu. I like everyone. Aishu, focus on recovering well, and growing up quickly. I recovered quickly, and within a month and a half, I was running around everywhere. But then it started snowing again in the capital, and I was terrified of another snow disaster like last year. Later, I realized, it wasn't just me who was afraid. Everyone was. The second prince requested to go inspect the north. Consort Xian cried before his majesty. He's only 11 years old. He's too young. But the second prince still went. Before leaving, he came to give me roasted chestnuts and osmanthus cakes from Changchun Palace. Aishu, take good care of yourself, he said with a smile. I, along with the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth princes, saw him off out of the palace, standing on the palace wall and waving to him. Cupping our hands, we all shouted, "Come back soon." He responded to us from atop his horse. A few days later, the crown prince was also set to depart. He was going even farther, and it was more dangerous. The night before he left, I hastily made a pair of knee pads and sent them to him. He patted my hand. He said solemnly, "Study your lessons well. Spend time with my mother, the empress. Learn how she handles affairs. But I can't become an official. There's no need to be so serious." I said softly. Says who? The crown prince scowled. You must learn what needs to be learned. Don't believe that nonsense about women being virtuous only if they're talentless. I just said, oh. I wanted to tell him to be careful on the road, but he kept giving me instructions. I'll check your studies when I return. If you fall behind, I'll punish you severely. I could only nod. The crown prince left early the next morning. The third prince said worriedly, this is the crown prince's first time on the battlefield. They say war is terrifying, heads rolling everywhere. But if we don't fight, it'll be the common people's heads that roll. When I grow up, I'll lead troops and wipe out all those northern Mang dogs. The sixth prince and I didn't dare make a sound. Our hearts filled with worry for the crown prince's safety again. That's the battlefield. Swords and arrows have no eyes. That night, I had a terrible nightmare. In the dream, the second prince was buried under a snowy mountain, and the crown prince was covered in blood. I woke up crying. My nanny held me, gently patting my back. Dreams are the opposite of reality. Both your highnesses will return victorious. The next day, I asked Her Majesty the Empress for a Buddhist sutra. Every day, I accompanied her in the small prayer room, copying and reciting the sutra. The sixth prince would also come to read the sutra with me when he had time, but he couldn't read more than a few lines before falling asleep on my lap. We waited and waited. Just before the new year, the second prince finally returned. The emperor and consort Xian are both delighted. I'm delighted too. The second prince stayed with consort Xian for 2 days. On the morning of the third day, he came to find me. Look what I brought you. It's beautiful. How did you get it? There's a mine over there. The snow was too heavy. They didn't care. One day, an avalanche happened. It buried a lot of people underneath. I went to rescue them, and got buried myself for half a day. When I was freezing and drifting in and out of consciousness, I grabbed this by chance. Don't cry. But I made it back alive, didn't I? This is a secret. Don't tell anyone, okay? This is important. You keep it as a memento. It is important. You hold on to it for me for now. Give it back to me in the future. I found a velvet-lined box, and carefully stored the crystal inside. But on New Year's Day, the crown prince still hadn't returned. I temporarily moved to live in Cunning Palace, to keep Her Majesty the Empress company. This year's New Year, although we received news of victory from the north, and everyone was happy, our New Year celebration was still a quiet one. On Lantern Festival Day, I was in the kitchen making yuanxiao with the nanny, when the sixth prince suddenly rushed in. Shoo! His eyes were red. The tear tracks had dried, leaving faint marks on his face. What's wrong? I looked at him. Big brother, the crown prince. He suddenly burst into loud sobs. Big brother, he's missing. They've been searching for over 10 days and still can't find him. My vision went dark. I collapsed into a chair. I forced myself to go to Cunning Palace, and listened as the messenger detailed what happened. The crown prince was stationed in Dong'an County. The main battlefield was there too. He repelled those forces, but unexpectedly, they turned around and headed for Dongning County, 300 li away. That day, the crown prince was preparing to return to the capital, when he suddenly received a military report. He led his troops there again. This time, there were traitors inside Dongning County. They leaked the crown prince's marching route. The crown prince's troops were scattered by the northern Mang assault. In the chaos, the crown prince also vanished. They searched everywhere around. No sign of him, alive or dead. Her Majesty the Empress fainted several times. I moved back to Cunning Palace to stay with her. His Majesty sent many people to search. At night, I and several princes sat dazed in the courtyard of Cunning Palace. The fifth prince insisted on going to look. The sixth prince said, second brother already requested permission from father, but father didn't agree. The fifth prince was so angry he kicked over the brazier by his feet. Her Majesty the Empress lost a lot of weight. She also spent more time chanting Buddhist prayers. I couldn't muster any enthusiasm either. The thing I did most every day was copy and recite sutras. Ash, your 10th birthday is coming up. What gift would you like? The sixth prince came to see me after school. I shook my head. Resting my head on the table, I looked at him. With one less person, I don't feel like celebrating. I sighed and said. The sixth prince sighed too. He rested his head on the table next to me, staring blankly at the new tender branches outside the window. The second prince became very busy. Consort Xian's influence in the rear palace subtly began to overshadow Her Majesty the Empress's. But Her Majesty the Empress didn't care at all. Every day, she just held the crown prince's clothes, kneeling before the Buddha. Has the fifth prince gone to the training grounds again? Fifth brother says he wants to be a great general, to defend the country and guard the borders. Ash, they all have things they want to do. Why is it that only I don't? I don't either. My wish is simple. It's just for the 7 of us to be together, complete and whole, safe and sound. And stay together, always. Before my 10th birthday, my father came to the palace to see me. Before he left, he told me, you shouldn't stay in Cunning Palace anymore. Spend more time with the second prince. I looked at him, confused. Why? My father whispered in my ear. The crown prince most likely won't be coming back. The second prince will surely be named crown prince. Staying close to Her Majesty the Empress won't do you any good. You're 10 years old now. You need to start planning for your future. That day, I argued with my father. He was so angry he stormed off. The crown prince will definitely come back, and the second prince doesn't covet the throne. The 6 brothers clearly have a good relationship, but for their own gain, some people insist on driving a wedge between them, turning them into rivals. On my birthday, I received many gifts. As I was packing them away with my head down, I heard the door open slightly. You've worked hard today, sister. You should rest early. I can wash up myself, I said without turning my head. Aishu. Suddenly, a hoarse male voice sounded behind me. I whipped my head around. The gifts in my hands clattered to the floor. Crown Prince. My eyes instantly welled up with tears. He hadn't lost much weight, but he had grown so much. He was so much taller now. He stepped forward and wiped my tears with his thumb. choking up as he said, "Don't cry. I've come back safe and sound." I bit my own arm. It hurt. This wasn't a dream. My tears turned to laughter. The crown prince poked my head. Still so silly. I was so happy. This is the most precious birthday gift I've ever received. I was crying and laughing at the same time, and asked him many questions. The crown prince stayed with me for half an hour. Only then did I learn he had secretly entered the palace, and came to see me first. "Then you should go see Her Majesty the Empress," I urged him. "She misses you terribly." The crown prince said softly, "No rush. I'll leave first. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll send out word that I've returned." I looked at him, puzzled. "Before then, don't tell anyone I'm back." "Okay, I won't say a word." I nodded, promising him. The next afternoon, news indeed spread that the crown prince had been found. Her Majesty the Empress was overjoyed. She ran out of the prayer hall to find His Majesty. He must have been found. The news can't be false. Don't worry. Her Majesty the Empress leaned into His Majesty's arms and cried. The second prince and I closed the study door together, and stood outside. I was happy too, but I didn't dare show it too obviously, afraid the second prince would notice. "Aishu," the second prince whispered in my ear, "when big brother returns, we'll celebrate your birthday again." I looked at the second prince. He playfully winked at me. The joy in his eyes was completely genuine. It was a light shining from deep within. I nodded happily. "I want to go to a restaurant outside the palace, for a big feast." The second prince patted my head. "Okay, my treat. But last night I heard Consort Xian struck the second prince. I wanted to see him, but the matron stopped me. Matters of the court are something you must never involve yourself in." "I know, and I've never asked. I'm just worried about the second prince. After all, Consort Xian has been too prominent lately. The feeling of having hope, then losing it, can't be pleasant." The next day, the crown prince returned, but he bore fresh wounds. It was a shocking sight. Just the day before yesterday when I saw him, he was perfectly fine. "How did he get hurt?" "When I brought him medicine," I asked quietly. He just smiled, and said lightly, "Got into a fight with some bad guys, but I won." Looking so glum, the crown prince raised an eyebrow and asked me, "The assignments I gave you, are they all finished?" I nodded. "Finished them before the new year. I waited and waited, but you didn't come back, so I did them twice more." The crown prince was pleased. A few days later, the weather was splendid. The 7 of us left the palace, chatting and laughing. We entered a private room and took our seats. Sister Xian and I went to the washroom. Turning a corner, we ran into a group of men and women. They reeked of alcohol. It was rather overwhelming. I was disgusted. I followed Sister Xian and turned to leave, but those people stubbornly blocked my way. Another man said, "How old are you? Which family's young lady? Tell us, and we'll let you pass." "How dare you?" Sister Xian snapped. "Step aside, or we won't be polite." "How not polite?" The man leaned against the railing. "In the capital, no one dares speak to me like that. Even the crown prince has to call me brother. I suddenly looked up at him, and asked, "You wouldn't be the heir of the Duke of Kai's estate, would you?" "Duke of Kai? I'm the heir of the Marquis of Huayin's estate." The man pointed at his own nose and said, "I thought he was the crown prince's cousin. Turns out he's the second prince's cousin." Before I could even speak, the crown prince and the others emerged from the private room. The crown prince stood with his arms crossed, looking at Yuan Shitzi. He sneered. How much has Yuan Shitzi had to drink to act so recklessly? Yuan Shitzi and his group saw the 6 princes, and their faces instantly turned pale with shock. They scrambled to bow in a chaotic mess. Then, coming to their senses, they guessed who I was. They hurriedly apologized to me. "I've had too much to drink. My apologies, princess." I waved my hand. It's fine. I know you were just saying hello. I won't forgive him, but he's the second prince's cousin. I have to save face for the second prince." Yuan Shitzi quickly agreed. "We'll be on our way now. Won't you come in for a drink?" the crown prince asked. Yuan Shitzi glanced at the second prince's cold expression, and hastily declined. He and his men scurried away. Back in our room, the others all started cursing Yuan Shitzi. After cursing him, they turned on me. "You're so timid. You're a princess. What are you afraid of? Aishu is easily frightened. Don't scare her." "But you were a bit too timid earlier. How about we get revenge for Aishu, find some wrongdoing he's done, and report him to the emperor. Make sure he gets a good beating." "Report him for what? I'll just take my men and break his arm." After saying that, everyone looked at the second prince. The second prince smiled. "Count me in." "Alright, I'll arrange it." They really did beat up Yuan Shitzi. The second prince got another scolding from virtuous consort Xian. She went to the emperor to demand an explanation. That's when she saw Shu. She said a few more words. How could he have offended so many people? That they want his life? Even if he said something after drinking too much, they were just words. He's a Shitzi. Is he really less valuable than Shu? You come to me with these words. Does the second prince know? My sons have become so close because of Shu. Does that not please you? Well, it pleases me. They stand together as brothers, their fists aimed outward. That pleases me even more. Throughout history, no imperial princes have had the harmony my sons share. Must you see them divided, brothers turning on each other, before you are satisfied? That is not my meaning, your majesty. I am only concerned for my nephew. for the second prince's sake, I will let this pass. If you cause trouble again, I will strip you of your title. Get out." Noble consort Xian left, holding back tears. After that, consort Xian became noticeably more subdued. When she saw me, she would smile as before, and ask what I wanted to eat, sending the kitchen to deliver it. The crown prince and the second prince no longer traveled far. The empress regained her vitality. I studied with the sixth prince. His mother, consort Shu, liked me best. I could feel it. Among all the consorts in the rear palace, her affection for me was the most genuine. And I liked her too. I liked her even more than the empress. But the sixth prince's studies gave her no peace. So I had to take on the task of supervising him. You and Shu are the same age, yet you're not half as clever as she is. Consort Shu poked the sixth prince's forehead in disapproval. You'll be 13 after the new year. When your father was your age, he was already betrothed. Betrothed? The sixth prince and I exchanged a look. Both our faces changed. We all think we're still kids, haven't grown up yet. How did we end up getting engaged? The crown prince and Prince Chi aren't even engaged yet. Why should I be in a hurry? The sixth prince is unhappy. After his majesty grants me my title, then I'll think about it then. The crown prince is 18 years old. The second prince, at 17, was enfeoffed as Prince Chi. The third prince and the fourth prince, both 16, were enfeoffed as Prince Ning and Prince An. Only the fifth prince, 14, and the sixth prince, 12, haven't been enfeoffed yet. After they were enfeoffed, they all set up their own households. The fifth prince spends all day at the training grounds. We rarely see him. So now it's just me and the sixth prince who see each other daily. I went home in a daze. Nanny noticed I was preoccupied, and asked with concern, "Did something upset you at Daekui Palace?" "No." Consort Shu mentioned the engagement. "Does everyone have to get married?" "For commoners, it's hard to say. But the crown prince and the princes bear the responsibility of continuing the royal line. They definitely have to marry. Our Shu will also have to marry and leave home one day." Leave home. My heart ached. So this is what growing up means. The people you care about all go their separate ways. Shu. Nanny closed the door, and whispered in my ear, "Of the six princes you grew up with since childhood, who does Shu like the most?" I suddenly remembered the gathering at the crown prince's residence the other day. In the pavilion, the crown prince asked me, "Who do you like the most?" I shook my head. "Can't I like them all?" Nanny sighed, and said to Sister Xian, who had just entered, "This girl hasn't awakened to such matters yet." That afternoon, I had a dream. In the dream, the crown prince married his cousin, Saiji. Saiji was beautiful, and had a wonderful personality. We often played together. The empress intended for her to become the crown princess. They were a perfect match. Shu. I opened my eyes. The nanny looked at me, stunned for a moment. "Did you have a dream?" I shook my head, and said I couldn't remember. The nanny pulled me up. "Consort Xian has summoned you." In Changchun Palace, Consort Xian dismissed everyone else, and beckoned me over. I carefully sat down across from her, waiting for her instructions. "Prince Chi is getting engaged, you know." Did you understand what I said?" "Yes, I did." I'll keep my distance from His Highness. It's best that way. Don't think that just because you're a princess, you can become Princess Chi. You silly girl. Although you're a bit silly, you're still likable. Since you understand, I won't make things difficult for you. No matter who you marry in the future, your dowry and wedding gifts, I'll make sure you're well provided for. I returned to Tsaixia Pavilion dejectedly. That evening, Prince Chi came to see me. We stood in the courtyard. He got straight to the point and asked me, "Did my mother tell you to stay away from me from now on?" I glanced at him, then shook my head. "No, she didn't." "So, you're planning to ignore me?" Prince Chi bent down to study my expression. I sighed, because I'm not good at lying, so I explained to him, "Misham, I understand how Consort Xian feels. She definitely wants to find you a wife from a suitable family. It's not that I'm ignoring you. I just don't want to engage with you as much. I don't need a wife from a family of equal status." Prince Chi's tone was cold. The Yu family's full support. To others, it's a blessing, but to me, it's a curse. I understand that too, but Consort Xian clearly doesn't see it that way. She needs a capable in-law family. And my father, because he got too close to Marquis Huayin. When the crown prince went missing, his power is slowly being stripped away. In the court, his influence seems to be waning. "Shu," Prince Chi said softly, "in the future, no matter what my mother says to you, just listen. Don't take it to heart." I nodded. "Shu, do you have any feelings for me?" Prince Chi trailed off. I looked at him, waiting for him to continue. Instead, he stepped forward and hugged me. He sighed and said, "Grow up quickly. I've been waiting for so long." After saying that, he gazed at me for a moment before leaving. After Prince Chi left, I stayed in bed for 2 days. The sixth prince came to see me. He patted my head, and asked if I was sick. I shook my head. "I'm just not in a good mood." I asked him, "About getting married, what are your thoughts?" The sixth prince pushed me inside. He lay down on the bed next to me. We lay there together, staring blankly at the canopy. "Shu, I've been thinking these past 2 days. I think, if we have to get married, why don't we just marry each other?" I was stunned. "You and me get married?" He nodded. He also seemed a bit troubled. "Compared to marrying some other girl, I'd rather marry you." If we were together, we'd be happy for the rest of our lives. I thought about it, and nodded too. I think you make a good point, but I need to think about it more. If I married the 6th prince, Consort Shu definitely wouldn't look down on me. On Lantern Festival Day, the Crown Prince asked me to go to the Lantern Fair with him. The lights were dazzling and the atmosphere was lively. This feeling was strange. It was different from holding hands before. Want some? The Crown Prince bought a cake skewered on a bamboo stick. He brought it to my lips. Snacks from the north. I've been wanting to bring you some since last time, but the circumstances didn't allow it. It became a regret. I took a bite from his hand. Good, he asked me. I nodded. Let me have a taste too. He then took a bite. From the spot I had bitten, I pointed at the cake, wanting to remind him, but he brought it back in front of me. It's too sweet. You shouldn't have too much. One more bite. I'll eat the rest. So I took another small bite. The Crown Prince ate the rest. After that, I don't remember anything. In a daze, I let him lead me by the hand. We seemed to go to many places. I only found out the next day, that on the morning of the Lantern Festival, Her Majesty the Queen hosted a banquet for Lady Kaigua, and proposed marriage to Kai Ji on the Crown Prince's behalf. Her Majesty also instructed the Crown Prince to accompany Kai Ji to the Lantern Festival fair, but the Crown Prince took me instead. I remembered the cake we shared. Actually, similar things have happened before, but I never thought much of it. Why did it feel different last night? The nanny came in. She whispered. At Cunning Palace, Her Majesty the Queen threw a huge tantrum. What happened? Over the Crown Prince's marriage. Ah Shu, listen to your nanny. How about marrying the 6th prince? The Crown Prince will be the ruler of a nation one day. If you marry him, and fail to become the Empress, you'll always be beneath someone else. Once you're a concubine, it won't be like it is now. The scheming and plotting, the constant power struggles. How could you possibly withstand it? Alright, I'll listen to you, Mammy. I'll go talk to the 6th prince. I'll have him marry me. That way, Her Majesty the Empress surely won't be angry with the Crown Prince anymore. Mammy would never harm you. Mammy only wants our Shu to live a smooth, peaceful, and healthy life. In the afternoon, I went to find the 6th prince. I intended to discuss the marriage with him, but as I passed by the garden, I saw the Crown Prince and Kai Ji. I found myself hiding on impulse. I wanted to eavesdrop and see what they were talking about, but I was too far away. I couldn't hear a thing. Kai Ji didn't stay long before leaving. I was just about to leave, when I stood up and bumped right into the Crown Prince. You've grown bold, learning to eavesdrop now, the Crown Prince said with a cold face. I didn't dare speak. You came looking for me? He asked. I shook my head. I was going to the study hall to find the 6th prince. To find him for what? I covered my mouth, not wanting to lie, nor wanting to tell him. Perfect timing. I ran into you. I have something to tell you as well. Keep it in mind. Be prepared, the Crown Prince said. Go on. You've grown up. I plan to ask His Majesty for a marriage decree today. The Crown Prince patted my head. The skills you've learned from the Empress over the years, take them out and ponder them again when you have time. They'll all come in handy later. I looked at him. My mind was buzzing. Doesn't like me? The Crown Prince asked me. I quickly shook my head. As long as you like it, the Crown Prince said with his hands behind his back. I'll make you like me even more. With that, he turned and walked away. Then, as if remembering something, he stopped and looked back at me. Remember this. I raised you from a little stone mouse, feeding you bite by bite. You can only be mine. He curled the corner of his mouth, and strode off. In a daze, I made my way back to the butterfly pavilion. The Crown Prince really asked His Majesty for a marriage decree. The Empress slapped him, and even summoned me for a lecture. The Crown Prince blocked the door, and said with a stern face, you can interfere in other matters, but the person I've chosen to share my pillow with, if any of you dare to touch her, then I will truly, as mother wishes, go completely off the rails. You unfilial son. All these years, I've listened to everything you said. I've complied with you in every way. I was saving up all this filial piety, all this obedience, to trade for your consent to let me marry the woman I love. I've obeyed you in 1,000 things. But now, in this one matter, you're throwing away everything I've done before. If that's the case, then for the next 100, the next 1,000 things, I won't be filial either. That niece of yours from your maiden family, I've met her as well. She's too dignified and proper. She might be suitable for someone else, but she's not a good match for the Crown Prince. How is she not a good match? Your Majesty doesn't understand that child. The Crown Prince is a deep thinker. He's been planning this marriage for years. When you were his age, he needs a Shu to be gentle, well-behaved, and a comfort to him. And, be honest with yourself. What's the real reason you look down on Aishu? After hearing what others told me, I was utterly shocked. So the Crown Prince wants to marry me. He's been preparing for this for a very, very long time. My heart started pounding. I was burning with a desperate urge to see him. I didn't get to see the Crown Prince, but Prince Chi came instead. This time, he didn't use the main gate. He knocked on my window. I stood at the window, looking at him. His voice was hoarse and broken. Aishu, the Crown Prince has requested an imperial marriage decree. Did you know? I nodded. What do you think? He asked me. I was silent for a moment. He pressed on urgently. If you're unwilling, I'll go ask father for a decree too, but I'm afraid it wouldn't be good for you. If we brothers fall out over you, people will blame you. I understand. People will say I've bewitched the court, and driven a wedge between the princes. Don't go. I'm willing to marry the crown prince. I told him. Prince Chi staggered. Then, what about me? Don't you want to marry me? It's different. I couldn't explain the difference. I held my brush, letting ink drip onto the paper. I said softly, you can be angry, yell at me, or cut ties with me. Prince Chi gripped the window frame. His eyes were red. He murmured, Shu, don't you like me? I didn't look at him. My heart ached for his pain, but I was powerless. Before, my affection for both of you was the same, but lately, I felt something different for one of you. Prince Chi shed tears. I was flustered. I didn't want him to be sad, but at a time like this, words are useless. I could only look at him apologetically. After a long time, Prince Chi left. I also stood by the window for a long time. In the afternoon, the imperial decree for the marriage arrived. I went to see Her Majesty the Empress and His Majesty. Normally, by protocol, I should have left the palace and gone home, but Her Majesty the Empress wouldn't let me leave. She said with a stern face, she can stay with me. I'll teach her for 2 years. The crown prince looked at me, asking with his eyes if I was willing. Am I going to eat her? The Empress noticed the crown prince's look, pointing at him. You need to be more discreet too. If word gets out, people will just call her a temptress. The crown prince ignored the Empress. He waited until I nodded to him. Then he replied, then let mother decide. I breathed a sigh of relief. The Empress glared at the crown prince. The Empress is not a petty person. Since she agreed to the marriage, she didn't give me a hard time anymore. But she was very strict, even stricter than the crown prince. The matron sighed for several days. Then she accepted that I was going to marry the crown prince. Sister Wan said. Poor Prince Chi. He had a big argument with Consort Xian. He's been sick for 7 or 8 days now. I wanted to visit Prince Chi, but I'm engaged now. It's not appropriate for me to go alone, so I waited every day for everyone to gather before going to Prince Chi's mansion. But before I could go, Prince Chi requested to go south. Why is he going south? I asked the crown prince. There are Japanese pirates there. He wants to go see the world. The crown prince sipped his tea. Then he looked at me. Do you want to see him off? I nodded. Prepare some mosquito and insect repellent for him, and some summer clothes. When he sets off, I'll take you. I nodded happily. I made a lot of medicine and clothes with the matron. I made a lot of medicine and clothes with Nanny. Prince Chi has lost a lot of weight. His eyes look duller too. He patted my head. Study hard with Her Majesty the Empress. You take care of yourself too. Remember to write to us. Prince Chi nodded. He looked up at the crown prince. The two brothers' gazes were both sincere. Big brother, take good care of Shu. I will. A child I raised myself. I won't let her suffer. The crown prince said softly. If you have any difficulties, tell me. Don't struggle alone. I'll always have your back. Prince Chi's eyes were red. Ignoring Consort Xian's cries calling for him, he rode off on his horse. Prince Chi was gone for 2 years. He never wrote to me. You'll be 16 after the new year, right? The crown prince suddenly appeared behind me. He's very tall now. I have to look up to see him. Then let's get married on the 2nd of February. What do you think? I was stunned. I can't wait any longer. He bent down and hugged me, then let go immediately. I want to hold you openly. I smiled, pressing my lips together, and nodded. You can decide these things. Alright, then I'll make the arrangements. The crown prince tapped my nose. Don't be afraid. I won't bully you. I puffed out my cheeks, and said quietly, I'm not someone to be trifled with either. He laughed heartily. The wedding was very grand. The bridal veil was placed over my head. My brother carried me on his back to the sedan chair. We weren't close, but he choked up as he pressed coins into my hand. If I could do it all over again, I would have protected you all those years. It's okay. We're family now. We'll look out for each other. My brother, crying, let down the sedan curtain. There were many rituals. I finally rested after a busy day. Amidst the noisy laughter, a scale pole lifted my red veil. I looked up at the crown prince, and smiled, feeling a bit shy. The crown prince looks down at me. His eyes are brimming with a smile. He leans in close, and whispers in my ear, Shu, it's like a dream. I feel the same way. A beautiful, beautiful dream. I remember a dream I had 2 years ago. I woke up with tear-stained cheeks. My nanny said. She said she knew even back then that I liked the crown prince. I just hadn't realized it myself. What are you two whispering about? Prince Ping shouts. We want to hear it too. Prince Ping says, craning his ear over. Fifth brother, want me to punch you? The crown prince kicks out. Prince Ping jumps back and runs off. The guests laugh and make merry for a while before leaving. When the crown prince returns from the front courtyard, I've already washed up, and am hiding in the room, eating. Tired, I go to him and help him take off his outer robe. The crown prince doesn't speak. Instead, he pulls me into a tight embrace, holding me close. Finally, I can hold you without any reservations. I hug him back. The crown prince lifts my chin, and kisses me. He smells wonderful. I've known that for many years. Shu is indeed so sweet. The crown prince smiles, gently kissing my eyes and brows. His voice is husky and tender. Are you happy, Shu? Yes, very, very happy. I'm going to bathe. Wait for me. The crown prince lets go of me and is about to leave. Suddenly, a strange noise comes from outside the door. The crown prince frowns and opens the door, then yells toward the doorway. All of you, come out. I run over too. Peeking out from behind the door. 1 head, 2 heads, 3, 4, 5 heads. Haha, we're here to crash the wedding. Prince Ping says. I followed 5th brother here. Prince Ning says. Prince An chimes in. Me too. The 6th prince comes in, carrying a wine jar half a man's height, muttered in a muffled voice. On such an important day, it's a shame not to drink. He squeezed into our bridal chamber. Everyone crowded in, but I tilted my head to look outside. By the dimly lit wall, there seemed to be another figure. Is that Prince Chi? I asked. The crown prince was also taken aback. He turned to look. Prince Chi emerged from the dim light and shadows. He wore a moon-white robe, elegant and refined, like a male fairy under the moonlight, holding a congratulatory gift. He walked towards me with a smile. I just arrived in the capital, so I'm a bit late. Not at all, not at all. It's never too late whenever you return. I waved to him, and pulled him inside. Inside the room, the others had already set up a table. The wine and dishes were brought in. The 7 of us sat around the table, looking at the people before me. My heart felt sweet. I was so happy. For the crown prince and Ashu's wedding, no more talk for now. 3 cups first, said Prince Ping. I stole a glance at Prince Chi. He drank too. His expression was normal. Why are you looking at me? You should drink less, Prince Chi said with a smile, then turned to ask the crown prince. Has her alcohol tolerance improved? The crown prince shook his head. Not sure. Haven't let her drink since. I know. Prince Rui raised his hand. With these small cups, she can handle 2, but absolutely no more than 2. As soon as he finished speaking, my 3rd cup was already gone. Oh no, Prince Ping exclaimed. This is strong liquor. I waved my hand. It's fine. I can handle 3 cups. Seeing I was okay, they all breathed a sigh of relief. They started drinking. Later on, I was the only sober one. Prince Rui squatted on a chair, wailing, pointing at my nose. He said, you promised to marry me. You went back on your word. Good thing you did. You don't like me, and I don't like you. Being together would be hard. I wiped his mouth, soothing him. Who says I don't like you? I just didn't want to put you in a difficult spot. Prince Rui wiped his tears, and gulped down a large cup. Forget it. As long as you're happy. Prince Chi nodded. As long as Ashu is happy. The crown prince watched his brothers with folded arms, smiling smugly. Can the crown prince take a few days off? 2nd brother is back too. Let's go out and have fun. Where to? How about Baoding Prefecture? Too close. This time of year, we should go south of the Yangtze. The south is too far. Then let's go to Yongping, Ashu's fiefdom. She hasn't been there yet. My eyes lit up. Can we go? Then it's settled. We go to Yongping. The crown prince made the final decision. I jumped for joy, poured a cup of wine and raised it. Sure Shu, toast you all. To what? They asked me. To. I thought for a moment, and said solemnly. Love. Love for the crown prince. Love for all of you. Love for every person I should love, and every encounter. So lucky to have met you all after hardship, like 6 beams of light, illuminating my entire life.